welcome back. If you are new here, my name is Kowther. Welcome, it's so nice to meet you. I just got back from a 2-week trip. This was our first time traveling together, and honestly, it was such a great trip. Yeah, a lot to do. I need to do laundry, have to think about meal prepping again, and just slowly getting back into routine. I'm not gonna lie, on the way back, Nadine, I guess it was motion sickness. She felt really nauseous, and I think because I fed her really heavily before we got on the plane, and she was just puking the entire time we were on the plane. So it was a little rough. And then when my mom came to pick us up from the airport, she was also throwing up in the car, all over the car seat. So I need to wash all of that. But I felt so bad, and she ended up going to bed without really eating. And I feel like I'm like that too when I travel. I get really crazy motion sickness, but she's doing a lot better now. She slept throughout the night. She's still sleeping. I really miss traveling. And I guess with, everything that's happened over the last few years in our world, it's really nice to get back into traveling and stuff. So I feel like it was good for my soul. I might Instacart instead of going grocery shopping, but grocery shopping is so therapeutic, but I have to clean the car seat because she threw up. There's just a lot going on right now. So I'm let me go do laundry, and I have some eggs in the fridge. So I'm gonna just make that for breakfast, and most likely Nadine will be up by then too. So Nadine woke up. I did not get a chance to do laundry yet, but I'm gonna go grab her, eat breakfast, and do some laundry. Here's my super random breakfast. I have some eggs, and I had toast and blueberries in the freezer. Since Nadine is still recovering from throwing up, I just made her applesauce instead. Just stay away from giving her eggs and dairy and stuff for now until I feel she's good to eat again. But she's currently eating the applesauce, and I'm just gonna eat this, but peanut butter on toast with egg on top is actually pretty good. I'm really shook right now. Hey.
Why do I miss you guys so much already?
I know, I was I have to FaceTime her.
It's funny because Iman was asking all day, where's Nadine? Where's Nadine?
The Dutch test stands for Dried Urine Test for Comprehensive Hormones and involves collection of a sample of urine tests on a filtered paper 4 times a day. The Dutch test is taken at home, and it measures hormones on a dried urine sample. The hormones are measured: cortisol, progesterone, estrogen, and many other hormones as well. I can leave their information down below in the description box for you guys. All right, let's go over my Dutch hormone test results. Here is a summary. I just want to be open and honest with you guys that it is overwhelming to read, and I did ask for 3 different people to interpret this and basically give me their opinion. But right off the bat, you could see that my progesterone levels are extremely low and my cortisol levels are very high. But I'll go over that in a second. But on the top, there's the sex hormones. There's the estrogen, progesterone, and testosterone. And then when you get to the bottom, there's the daily free cortisol pattern levels. Mine is obviously higher than normal, but it does follow kind of like the arrow of like, okay, it's going up, going back down in the afternoon, and then by night it's down, which is good. It's, you know, within range, but it's still very high. I want it somewhere to be lower. And then on the right side, there's the DHEA production. Then when we get to the bottom here, there shows like the breakdown of the progesterone, estrogen, and androgens in my results. And basically it tells you if you're like below, low, or even high, or if you're within range, which I really like. And it kind of just shows your results and then what the range should be. If you keep going down to the next page on the androgen section, it shows you just the breakdown of DHEA, testosterone, progesterone, and estrogen and more detailed of what that looks like in your body. Also, I don't know if I mentioned this, but you have to take this test at day 19 of your cycle. For me, since my cycles are between 35 to 40 days, mine wasn't exactly accurate in terms of the progesterone. I probably was off by like 4 or 5 days and it could show lower than it actually is. But yeah, I think that it's pretty helpful with, you know, just showing you where your levels are at. I love that it shows you like, okay, you're within range with certain things and with some of them you're not, but the arrows are very clear to read. So you could see if they're pointing to the left, then you're low. And then if it points upwards toward the right, then it's considered high. All right, that's all I wanted to share. And let's go over some PCOS questions that you guys have asked me on Instagram.
I've shared this in my PCOS story video, the first video I ever made on YouTube about, you know, I was getting 2 periods a year and it kind of stayed that way up until I was trying to have a baby, and I was told to get on birth control to regulate my cycles, but it was just a band-aid that they were putting over my symptoms and not quite, you know, getting to the root cause of why I was getting irregular cycles. But over the last few years and doing research and finally getting diagnosed, I have found that changing the food that I'm eating and also acupuncture has been huge for me. You'd be surprised, there's a lot of insurance coverage that can actually cover your acupuncture and chiropractic services. So it might be worth looking into if you have coverage. And acupuncture helps a lot with decreasing stress. So obviously stress might be the reason why you are not getting regular cycles. I know some girls who overwork out and who are athletes that don't get periods as well. So it's not really the same for everyone, but I do think for me, it was definitely stress. And once I started doing acupuncture and changing the foods that I was eating, I was able to see a huge difference in my cycles. They're not quite like perfect. They're between 35 to 45 days, but it's way better than it was like once or twice a year. So I am very happy with my cycles right now. I recommend reading the Period Power book. This one, she goes over just like hormones and cycles that will work for you. And yeah, I really like this book. And if you're trying to dig into figuring out why you're not getting regular cycles, it might be worth looking into this book. The other one was Beyond the Pill that I mentioned in the other video as well. I'll link the PCOS story video down below. The next question is, how did you get tested for it? To be honest, and this is why I say over and over again, I am not a doctor, but I self-diagnosed myself at the very beginning. It wasn't until I gave birth to Nadine, like probably around September 2021, that I officially got diagnosed. But I would say up until then, I was like, yeah, I have it. I've done a lot of research. My symptoms aligned with it, and I felt very confident that that was it. And I started experimenting, changing my diet, you know, environmental toxins, stuff like that, and just really focusing on living more holistically, and I got pregnant. So I feel like it was a struggle for sure to figure it out. It was kind of like I was questioning, like, do I have PCOS? I don't know if I have PCOS. No doctor had done like a hormonal panel or anything really to like figure out if I had PCOS or not. After I gave birth to Nadine, I found a doctor that was willing to do blood work on me, and that's when he found out that I had high androgen levels. I obviously was struggling with irregular cycles, and I used to have a lot of cysts on my ovaries. It was sometime after I had Nadine that I officially got diagnosed, and that it's like on my record now. But up until then, I was pretty much self-diagnosing myself. So if you have a really good gut feeling that this might be it, it could be, and it might be worth looking into and experimenting, you know, maybe change your diet and focus on lifestyle changes. I've shared a lot of the things that I did before I got pregnant, and that helped me get pregnant naturally. I'll link all the videos that I've done about PCOS down below. Yeah, I'm happy to share as always, and if you have any other questions, let me know in the comments. But yeah, let's carry on with the video.